Hello Internet, welcome back to Asteroids VR. In this video we are going to be working on some of the art for this guy. So you can see in the bottom we've got this, it's called a mechanical iris. And so if you've seen, I guess, Stargate or Aliens is a good example of these. And so you can see we have two different closure, I guess, amounts on both of the thrusters. We can actually configure that by rotating each of the pieces. And so that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be actually rotating this stuff. I'm flying into an asteroid. That's fine. We're going to be rotating those pieces so that they close when you don't want to move, and then they open back up when you want more thrust. There's also, it's going to be hard to see, but there's fans. You can just barely see it. There's fans in there. And so what we want is we want those fans to spin. And then we want them to spin faster if you are moving faster. So that as you start going, they will spin up, and then as you slow down, they'll slow down as well. So that's sort of what we're going to be doing. It's probably going to require some Mecanim and then maybe some other stuff as well. We'll have to kind of play around with it. The model isn't totally done yet. There's still a bunch of work to be done. There's no texture, for example. But it's a good starting point, so that's where we're going to start with. So let's get started. We've got our jetpacking. We want our jets and our Vive thruster. And now I believe I've already started this. That's the color wheel. There we go. We've got our open and our closed thruster positions. So apparently I had already started this. I think I was just kind of working on it by myself because I wanted to do it and kind of see what was happening. So you can kind of see how the geometry looks. We've got a very big thruster here. This is mostly just for my testing purposes. We've got a glowing orb in the center. Mostly just glows because of bloom, and then it casts out a light there. We might play around with modifying that as well, making it grow or cause some refractions or something else. But that's fine for now. We've got the fan inside of a little glass thing. And then down here we've got the interesting bit. And so that's inside of this. And so I can just show you what happens, what we're going to be working with. We're going to be doing something similar to that. That's actually, I don't think, correct. Nope, never mind. That is correct. It's just the highlighting is from back to front, it looks like. And everything else is actually rendered from front to back. So, oops, it's a little bit weird. But either way, that's sort of how it works, is as we rotate this from 0 on the Y in, it kind of closes off and we get this iris shape. And so this will be like our stopped. So there'll still be like a little something coming out, but nothing significant. And then as you open up the throttle, that'll open up as well. And so I believe we actually already have some of this done. No, I lied. Nope. Yeah, we do. Okay. So what we have is we have this blend tree here. And so what a blend tree does is it blends between two or more values. So what we're doing here is I can pull this up and kind of rotate it. You'll see we've got the iris here. And now what our blend tree is doing is we've got a thruster parameter that is here. What our blend tree is doing is it's blending between two animations. And this is sort of the curve that it's going to use based on this value. And so if you look at our example, as I put more into it, as I put more thrust into it, or set this parameter, it opens up and then it closes as we're releasing that. And so all these animations are really quick. I think they're just one frame, and they're all just setting the, what's it called? They're setting the rotation of that object. So nothing too complicated. And what we end up getting is hopefully something that closes and then opens. I don't know entirely how far I was with that because I kind of started doing it and then I was like, I should make a video about this. And then I don't really like going back. I think that kind of defeats the purpose of these. So whatever I usually, if like something goes wrong and it's not like major, usually I'll just kind of catch you guys up and continue. I'm not gonna step back and redo everything because kind of like releasing things instead of just tinkering with things. So that's the plan. What do we need? We need to be able to set that value, which is going to mean we're going to need a script. I'm going to go in here, in our weapons. Do we want the weapons? No. We're going to use a player controller. And let's open up the Jetpack Controller. So I don't know if you noticed, but there are a few new art assets as well in here. One of the big things that I've been working with has been, there's a new Asteroid Art, and it's got holes in it, and that wasn't something that I had planned for. So my artist kind of sent me that file and was like, hey, play with this. So I did, and it broke everything. But I've got it working now. I'm using a plugin to get it working because Unity doesn't support rigid body 3D instances. It's just a performance thing. And so what I had to do is I had to get a plugin that would cut that concave thing. I'll actually show you quick. So there is holes in here. And so if I can open this up a bit, it's going to be rather significant. But what the tool does is you can see there is a concave collider on here. And so that's going to analyze the mesh and actually compute a set of hulls, a lot of them. This is mostly just for testing. It isn't a final thing. I'm going to tweak this so that it's more performant. Because right now, this is what the collisions look like. And oh my god, is it nasty. But the important part is this works. We can simulate rigid bodies on this. And for the most part, it runs all right, actually. I had 4 of these in here with all of these other small ones. And it's actually probably more than I was intending the game itself to have. And it seems to be doing all right. So we may be good there. But it's kind of hard to look at. So I'm going to hide those away again and continue. So let's open up our Jetpack controller. This is going to capture everything. And so what I'm thinking we can do is we might be able to actually pass the values from here, or we might be able to do some sort of smoothing. So I kind of want it to be a little bit smoother than that, than just if you pull the trigger really fast. I don't want it to just open suddenly. I want it to be controlled. So you'll get thrust immediately, but the actual mechanism, the mechanics of it, isn't going to be directly tied to that. We're going to have probably a lerp. So we have that there. We need to actually do the math somehow. What are we going to call it? It's an animation controller, so we're going to do a thruster animation controller model. And so this is going to take in our Jetpack controller and the animation controller we want as arguments. So public float lerp speed is what we're gonna do. And then we're also going to want the animation controller, the animator, I believe is what it's called, sorry, and the Jetpack controller. So we can plug in our Jetpack and our animator, and then it's going to take things from the Jetpack and put them on the animator using this to do some fun stuff. And so the way we're going to do that is we're going to do animator.setFloat. So this is going to actually set our property. So we actually need, where was it? Up here. We've got our Vive thruster. We want to take our property, wherever it was, parameters, it's thruster opening. So we're going to use that like so. And then we're going to plug in the new speed, which is going to be our thruster opening. We can just use that for now. Now that doesn't exist, so we're going to have to create one. So I'm going to do that. And so this is actually going to maintain this state of our object. And that way we can operate on this and then pass it in. Oh, oops, I spelled that wrong. Probably should have copied the properly spelled one, but oh well. So we have these two. They should be good. And now we just need to do some math on this, which is actually fairly simple. And so all we need to do is do thruster opening is going to be equal to the math of lerp, of its current position times the target position. And so this will kind of give us a nice curve. So if it's far away, it's going to jump a significant portion. And if it is near, it's going to jump a minuscule portion. So it'll do sort of an exponential or an inverse exponential curve. And the reason it's going to do that is because lerp is going to calculate if you have 2 points, a lerp is going to give you a 0 to 1 ratio between that. So if I have 2 points like this, like this, and then I say, let's give it like 0.5, it'll go into the middle and say, I want that. Or if you give it like 0.25, it'll come lower down here and so on. And so that kind of gives you a little bit more control over things. In this case, it lets us kind of do that fun curve without having to worry too much about what's actually going on. It might be a little bit slow, but we can tweak that if it becomes a problem. And so what we need is we need the trigger position, if I remember correctly. So we're lerping towards our trigger position at a speed of our lerp speed times our time delta. And so we're slowly going to try to move towards wherever we are, whether it's closer or less or whatever, and we'll just try to get there. And that should then be able to connect to our actual controller once I figure out how to actually do things with it. Okay. I'm missing my script. It is, I think I need to go through this and just clean up everything because we've been kind of throwing everything into it somewhat sporadically, and it hasn't worked great. So we should probably fix it, but we can hold off on that for now. Need to attach our model, which is not the model. We need to attach our Vive thruster because that has an animator on it. And then we need to attach our Jetpack Controller like so. And then we give it a lerp speed of, let's say, 5. And that lerp speed is just going to adjust how fast it closes and opens. And then should be able to apply that just so it's saved to our prefab. And then we just need to copy and do that all over again, which I would copy that, but that's actually not going to work because it will have the references to the other object and we don't want that. So let's do it again. Where was it? Could have just dragged it, but we can just do that too. Let's grab our thruster again, our Jetpack Controller, and we were using 5. And now we can take this, hopefully start it, and we should get something like that. I'm surprised it's not working. Okay. Well then, that was a successful failure. Let's figure that out. We've got our right and all of that. thruster opening. It's setting the float of that using our trigger position. Huh. I would assume that would work. Just to be sure, let's make this public. And then if this thruster opening is staying at 0, then our math is wrong. If it's changing, then our other changes are broken. Looks like it's something else. So what is it? That is the question. Oh, that's the problem. So in order to do this, we actually have to assign our animator here. And as you can see, I did not, which is important. So we do that, and we can do it for the other one as well. And now they should actually read that, which should make everything work. Oh, or not. That's kind of annoying. Wonder why. Even more interesting, you can see down here, it actually is, it is changing. So I wonder what's, oh. There's a problem. So I had the weight set. I had these in 2 different layers. There's a base layer, and then there's a thruster mouth layer. And so I was going to be using layers to do this. So the advantage of layers is, let's say you have like a person. Person's a good example for this. You can do a mask on what they will affect. So we can have a separate layer for, say, the legs and a separate layer for the arms. And so you can blend those 2 together. And so in the same animator, we can control the arms and the legs separately by doing some fun stuff. And so what I did is I just increased the weight, so it's just applying that. And now we get this thing. And you can see it opens fairly quickly and closes. So we can kind of fly around and get a little bit more visual feedback. So the next thing is going to be our fans, which are also going to be relatively simple, I imagine. We just need to spin them and then change how much it is spinning by some value. We'll figure out what value later. Well, we can figure that out right now. Since we have an animation controller, I'm wondering if we might be able to spin them in Mecanim, but I don't think that works. Because we want them to have a separate speed based on, we want the speed to be based off of how fast you're going. And so I guess what we could do is we could create 2 animations that, no, I don't really want to do that, because then we have to deal with like different weights, because I want it to slow down slower than it speeds up. So as we speed up, I want the fan to really kick in. And then when you kind of let go on the throttle, it will spin fast for a few more seconds, and then it will slowly wind back down. And so we can do that if we do it with a script. It's harder if we do it normally. So we'll script it, and if I come up with something, I will do another video on it. So we have all of this fun stuff. That's all for that one value. Let's add some more for this. So we've got a public float of our fan idle speed, and a public float for our fan max speed, I guess. Sure. And so we'll do sort of just a linear position between that, so we can, based on those 2, we can calculate how fast the fan should be spinning based on where it is. I suppose we could use like a curve or something if we wanted to, but I don't want to. What we want then is we want a float of the fan increase lerp, or strength, I guess we'll use, and the float of the fan decrease strength. And so I think we can do, well, we'll call it a speed actually, because that's, no, we won't call it a speed because we already have everything else called a speed. And that's just way more confusing than I want. So we're going to have this of our fan speed. And then let's get some public variables for our fans. So we'll make that an array of fans. There we go. Because there's two fans currently in the object. There's one on top and one on bottom. Currently the one on top is broken and kind of appears, I believe, in the same spot, which is a bit of an issue, but we can ignore that for now. Let's just get it spinning, and this will cover everything when it works. So how this is going to do it, it's all going to be linear. I think it's all going to be linear. So there's going to be a default fan speed, which means we can just kick this up to the fan speed equal to the fan idle speed. And so it starts there. Then as you pull the trigger, you'll build based on the jetpack to whatever the target speed is. And so we can calculate that. So we have a target speed equal to our fan idle speed. Actually, we can actually just do a lerp between the fan idle speed and the fan max speed with our jetpack trigger position as the argument here. And so this will, just like we had that line before, we're doing the same thing, but our 2 points are the points in our line. And then our jetpack trigger position is our X value that's picking one of them. So we can use that. And then we just need to do the increase and decrease speed. And so we're going to need an if, I think. If our target speed is less than our fan speed, then we want to subtract. We'll just do a clamp here. Oops, that's not what we want. Math clamp between our no. So we're subtracting here. So our target speed is less than the fan speed, which means that we want to slow down. So this is actually going to be the max value between the target speed or the fan speed minus our fan decrease strength times the time delta. So times our time over seconds. That's how fast or how much it's going to slow down in that frame. So what this is going to do is it's going to find the maximum speed of our target speed or the current speed minus however much time per second. And so as long as this is a greater, so if it's significantly above, it will slowly decrease, but then it will stop decreasing as soon as it gets to this target speed and just stay there. And so that way we can kind of clamp things. And then we can do the opposite here. So we can do our fan speed is equal to our math min. And that's going to be our target speed or our fan speed plus our fan increase strength times our time delta time. So this is the exact same thing. It's just now we're doing a min because we want the minimum value. So we'll build up to a value and then we'll stop as soon as we hit that and just kind of clamp there. And then all we need to do is rotate. So for each fan, Yeah, fan in fans. We'll do a transform. And I think we can rotate somewhere. Actually, I think we can use the quaternion thing, if I remember. Rotation plus equals. Or actually times equals our vector 3 dot right. Sorry, it's been a bit since I've done this. No. Okay, it doesn't like that very much. Are you sure? Fan transform. Okay, it really doesn't like that. So I lied. So what we need, is we need to rotate it around its axes. So its up vector is what we're probably going to be using. And that's because our fans are going to be, I think they may spin opposite of one another. I'd have to check. Could be wrong there. Probably I'm wrong. I think we'd notice if they were spinning the opposite way. Anyway, we're going to use the up vector, and that way we can kind of configure things a little bit in our mesh. So let's do that. As you can tell, it's been a bit since I've done this. There's some way to rotate this around, but I am forgetting how to do it, so we're going to use rotate. Sure. Axis vector 3 dot nope. Pan transform position. No. Dot up. Sorry. And we want to rotate by our fan speed times the time delta. So what this is going to do, we've got our rotation here. We're rotating each fan blade along this axis with this amount, which is going to be however fast our fan is spinning, that is in how much degrees per second or whatever. So we need to get that from degrees per second to the actual degrees to rotate it. And so we have this time multiplication here to get it back to degrees. And now we get this. And so this should rotate our fan blades. We'll figure out pretty quickly if it's working or not, because we are going to test that right now. I'm going to unplug. I had forgotten to charge these controllers, and so they were being a bit out of battery. That's why I had them plugged in. They were pretty much dead, but I think we're good for a little bit, and that will make working on this a bit easier. So I'm going to find out where our fan is. Oh. Huh. Well, that makes things a bit more difficult. We did have two fans. That's a good thing. They aren't grouped yet, which is going to make this a bit more difficult. So I'm going to quickly group these just by selecting all of them and throwing them in a game object. And that way we can at least rotate them. I suspect I may have just screwed that up because that axis does not look right. But we'll find out shortly what happened, because I'm kind of curious now. So we're going to make a fan, sure. Take our Vive controller. And that's not going to work because I did it there. Whoops. We're going to just test the right controller for now, because it's going to be the same on the left. It's just double the work. So let's make a fan. grab our planes and parent them like so. I'm gonna apply that quick, and then we should just be able to throw our fan in there with an idle speed of, let's say, 10 and a max speed of 360. I believe this is in degrees per second. Could be wrong there. If I'm wrong, we'll know pretty quick. I'm gonna have it increase pretty quick and then decrease quite slowly. And so need to bring this over here so we can actually, ooh. Yeah, that's not entirely what I had in mind. So it is rotating. The issue is it's rotating around a different origin than the one I had. If we had it rotating around the up vector, it's not doing that, obviously, and that's causing all these weird issues. But what you can see is as we speed it up, it does rotate correctly. I'm not going to fix this weird rotation thing, mostly because I'm going to be getting a new model eventually, and I'm going to have to redo it, and that's just extra work that we don't need to worry about. But what you can see is that we do get an increased speed, and then it slowly starts slowing down a bit. And there we go. Now it's relatively constant, losing tracking a bit because it's under my desk, but you get the idea. We've got a Mecanim controlled enclosure thing, or we had one. Oh, I didn't fix that. So when we were distracted, I forgot to change the weighting again. There we go. Since we had changed it inside of play mode, it hadn't saved. Or maybe I was just wrong. Okay, we're gonna fix that, and then that will be our video for the day. Or that will be a bunch of work that I will need to figure out. All right, we've got that. Gonna disable applying root motion. So root motion is a feature of Unity. So let's say you have a walk animation. What you can do is you can actually record the person walking forward, like physically walking forward in your animation. And then what you can do is apply root motion, and that will take the motion of the actual object per frame and actually apply that to the object. And that will allow them to actually physically move based off of the movement in the animation. So what that allows you to do is get really precise movement. It doesn't work if your animations aren't moving correctly, or if you've got like some weird physics stuff, and some packages don't really support it that well. And it's not good for precise stuff because you're doing a lot of really small additions instead of other stuff. But if you need to more or less make your animations match, it's a good solution there. But why wasn't it working? That couldn't have been the only issue. Let's find out quick. No, good. Okay. So it's still not fixed, and that's a good thing, mostly because if that had fixed it, I would have been very confused. And I don't like it when I'm confused. Not that kind of confused. I don't mind being confused about certain things, but that was weird. Kind of curious now. Are we actually... Interesting. So we are, if you look down here, we are actually setting the blend shape. Which is interesting. Huh. Okay. Now I'm a bit... Okay. Don't want it to be additive. That would be the wrong solution. We've got inverse kinematics, sync, timing. Nope, don't want any of that. That can be ignored. That layer has nothing there. Our parameters are getting set. So something is very broken. And I wonder if it's not me messing up the mesh. So let's try this. I'm going to bring our thruster over. And so this is one of our animations. I don't know precisely which one. We can figure it out pretty quick. So here is our closed animation. Then I should be able to open the open animation. And everything is broken. Okay. Appears we reset things. But we can fix that. So the way we do this is actually just a Y rotation on this. So if we set this, I had Unity set to recording when I did that. And so if we look at this now, our Y rotation is now like 30, let's say 35 degrees. And so if we save that, we should have a closed and an open. Closed, open, what the hell? This is kind of weird. I'm not sure what's going on. Like, I think it's working. Yeah. Unity's animation stuff is not, it's not as polished as I would like. It doesn't always work very well. And the issue we're having right now is that exact issue. So let's go back to this animation. We've got the closed. We want to update these in our closed animation to be at 0, like that. And then in the open animation, no, we want it at 0 for the open animation. Sorry, I'm confused. Then in closed, we want it right around negative 35. So they're all closed. You can stop recording. And now if I go back here, open up our animator, when it is broken. What the heck? Doesn't make any sense. So it is lerping between the two, or it's moving between the two and doing all of that fun stuff. The issue is that the two are very wrong. We've got our Vive thruster. We've got our iris. This is our closed animation. We want it to be our open animation. Our open animation should be zeroed. It is. Why isn't this working? I turn that off. Now they're at negative 35. What the hell? I don't know what's going on. If I record, the values are 0. If I don't record, the value is negative 35. Well, okay, screw this. We are going to do this the old-fashioned way. Where is it? Engine open. It's closed. So let's show it in Explorer. And then let's open this with something. Visual Studio Code should work. Now this isn't probably the best way to do this. but I can't open it. Doesn't support text encoding. It should. Oh, never mind. I lied. Okay, we're not going to do that. What the heck? Okay. So what we could do... Actually, I need to... No, I don't want to do that because that'll mess up everything. Okay. Back to... Sam screws up all of the stuff. Part 1000. So, we have our open thing. Open thing is very much a broken thing. Don't make me do this for all of them. This is going to be the most annoying thing ever. All right. Well, I will be back. I'm going to fix this. Okay. I think that fixed it. I hope that fixed it. If it didn't, then I don't know what's going on. But that shouldn't be happening. And if you work at Unity, fix it. Oh no. Now they're both open? The hell? Oh, damn it. Closed. -35. That's correct. That is the correct value. Open. It's 0. I don't know what's going on. And this works. So if that's working, then something else must be screwed up. I wonder, so what could be happening is, since I'm editing this in 2 different models technically, I've got the Vive thruster here and the Vive thruster here. I'm wondering if it's doing something really stupid and not mapping them correctly. And if it's doing that, then it's not going to work. But I don't know how to fix that. Right. So let's select our Vive thruster. Got it. Let's select this. Then let's go into our thruster layer and select our blend view, like so. And everything works. But if I do it in real life, I can't tell if the inspector is broken because it's not moving that red bar up there, but it's moving down here. I honestly don't know what's going on. It looks like something is very broken, and I don't think it's something I can fix. So I think I'll leave it here, and I will see what comes of it. I don't know how long it'll take, so I'm not gonna just keep people here and just keep trying different things. I've tried what I thought the issue was. It doesn't appear to have solved it, so there's that. So hopefully this was interesting. Hopefully that wasn't too tedious. I kind of had enough of it, but anyway, I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, let me know in the comments. And if there's something you want to see, leave those as well, and I will get to them when I can. So till next time, see you, Internet.